And with me is Jennifer Axelrod, who's a franchise business coach for us. And we welcome you to the Coach's Corner. Today, we're going to be talking about creating the employment experience within your home care agency. And this is a lot more than just creating an experience for caregivers. It's also creating that experience for our admin staff, or our schedulers, our recruiters, everyone, even including the operator themselves. How do we separate ourselves from other agencies out there? And so home care agencies, they face a big challenge standing out from the competitive marketplace. And I know in the marketplaces that each of us as owners are in, or even your agency that is in, you may have just a handful of competitors, or you may have 120, 180 different competitors in that marketplace. What separates your agency from everybody else? Why would a caregiver or why would an admin staff choose you to come and employ with you? And so, we'll kind of dive in this a little bit here. So Jennifer, thank you for joining me today. One of the first things I want to talk about is prioritizing our caregiver support and development. Kind of talk a little bit about that. What separates us from everybody else out there when it comes to supporting our staff?
Okay, so of course it has to do with the caregiver. So I mean, we'll start there. But for us, caregivers are part of our team. So they're not just the care givers. They're part of the culture. From day one, we want to really make them feel like part of the team, and that goes back to each touch point, even probably from the applicant stage, in the process of hiring. I think having such a strong onboarding process is really, really important, but also with clear expectations. Like, what is this? Is this a job? Is this a career? Where am I going? One of the things that Place at Home does is we were really geared to career development. I think a lot of people come into this role and they're doing it because it's meaningful, and definitely, but they don't know that we could actually develop them. I mean, right now, I mean, we know, we've said this a couple times now, one of our actual employees started as a caregiver and now she's in a director role. So it can happen. They want it. When it comes to caregiving, you can increase your ability to serve high needs, and that comes with more credentials. So, if we go back to the onboarding stage, there could be a welcome package, a nice gift. Anything with the brand is really good, because now you're bringing in that part of the business, that it's not just a job to them. Yep. And we really get to know them as people at the interview stage. We want to work with their goals. So if their goals is to become an RN, let's make that happen. Let's work towards that. What do we need to get there? And just really do that clear expectations. I think people leave jobs when they don't have that clear expectation, and they don't know where they fit in. They don't know where the business is going. And one thing in home care is, I mean, this industry is so impactful, and it's growing and changing, and there's so many pieces, and there's so many different areas that they can do. So it's like giving them that opportunity and really understanding how can we best serve them as they can serve us. But what I wanted to say, and I mean, doesn't matter how small you are, we want a team managed business. And so what that means is we want to empower our team. We want to get out of the way, as Shane sometimes says, so that we can grow and scale the business. And that means getting out of the day-to-day. And that takes time. And for some people, it's difficult. But if you hire the right people and you right seats, then you're going to be more successful.
Yeah, let me add to that. One of the things that separates us from everybody else is comprehensive training. And we're really bringing the caregiver into the space where not only are they going to be trained on how to be a really good home health aide or a good caregiver, or taking the CNA license that they have to another level, but we are now hands-on specialized training, deeper training on Alzheimer's, hospice, stroke, if we have someone that's done with a stroke. And so there's a variety of things that we're doing to improve the way that we provide care. It's not just coming in and checking a box and I've done this for the client, or a meal prepped or a med reminder or whatever it is. We're going beyond the technical things of care, and we're trying to teach a little bit more of those elements. One of the other things, and I did this way back when I was with another franchise, is the emotional support of our caregivers and our team members.
Yes.
We're in the end of life with a lot of our clients. I would say the majority of our caregivers have never experienced a loved one that has passed. A lot of family that is involved with their loved one as we're providing care have never experienced that as well. And one of the things I went and did is became an end-of-life doula, and I offered that support not only to our caregivers but our admin team, our schedulers, our recruiters that were involved in. And it touches you when you get really close with those clients, really that emotional support, how to not only deal with death and the end of life itself, but how to prevent burnout. I mean, that's one of the things in the industry, and as owners, we get so caught up and we got really good caregivers, and it's kind of the 80-20 rule. We use 20% of our caregivers to do the 80% of our work, and probably in some agencies, it's probably a 90-10 rule, but we're using the very best to do so much, and we don't want to burn them out. And so in that development phase, identify those caregivers that we can pour more into and those that we can empower. And maybe they're right in the middle of the road and we need to develop them to the next level. And that those are at this level, keep developing them so that they can be that next one that comes into the staff. And the one thing I always encourage our owners, and I would encourage you out there, is always look from your caregiver pool to hire internally to bring inside. When you start empowering them and you're giving them an ability to develop and grow in that career that they have chosen to, maybe one day they want to be a nurse. Let's give them the opportunity to learn all aspects of the business. Maybe one day they choose they want to be a franchise owner. They love to pour into this model. So, and then I think the last thing I want to add to that is kind of a flexible scheduling. Caregivers' lives all of our lives are busy. We've got family, kids, things that are happening, and to have the flexibility to work around a caregiver or even our admin teams. COVID changed the game here. A lot of, like you and I, were remote workers, and we work with our owners across the country. And so we're behind the screen a lot, engaging with them. I know a lot of people out there are watching this are also remote. But during COVID, especially those 2 years, it was such a lockdown feeling, and being able to give the flexibility to our caregivers and work with them and engage with them on, maybe they got a very busy schedule, kids getting to school, maybe their spouse, and maybe they're sharing a car. So we want, as a home agency, be really cognitive of that flexibility with them. And that becomes more attractive. The more that we can work with them and that ability and scope, it reduces the turnaround. The last thing I want is staff member out there that's looking, to, is the grass greener over here, and will they pay me more money here? Yeah, that money doesn't always change the culture. It doesn't change your team, your family, what you've devoted time into. And we want to uncover some of those things. But you mentioned, Jennifer, something, and I want to move on to this next point, is cultivative culture, this collaborative building with
Positive.
Yeah. And working in that and creating this foster of change. And I had the opportunity now for the last couple of months engaging with a lot of our owners on interviewing some of their staff members that are coming into space. Some of them are caregivers that have been promoted up to be schedulers. Some that are schedulers are getting promoted up to HR managers. And that collaborative culture to like, it's amazing to see their expression on their face when you ask them for feedback. Talk a little bit more about that collaborative culture out there.
Sure. So whenever I think of culture, I think of core values. And I'm sure other home care agencies, you all have your core values. And when you're doing your hiring, you really want to find a perfect or an almost perfect match to those core values. Because what happens is over time, you might see some of those people not following those core values, and they're going into these homes. They're your reputation. Culture you feel. It's something that really sticks with you when you walk into an organization or you learn about what they're doing. And just to kind of take a step back with the training piece, ongoing training is what caregivers need and staff. Are you providing the resources? Are you doing a handoff? Are you doing skills training? We want to make sure that they're prepared to go into these homes. And that's like when we do our surveys, we know that a lot of caregivers, I'm not going to say a place at home, but I have seen that is something that comes up. I wasn't trained enough. So as an owner, you really got to take that seriously. Is my caregiver capable, competent, and ready to do the quality that I'm selling to the client? Yeah. And we do that so well here. And I'm so proud of the core values that we have. I live and breathe them every day. And what you want is you want your staff, you want your care team to live and breathe these values and be your ambassador to give you referrals. I mean, leverage your team to grow your business. Yeah. Think of the cost per lead.
I love that word ambassador. That's a really good word, Jennifer. I think with all of this, we want to encourage caregivers and our team members to communicate. We don't want them to be quiet and feel like, oh, I can't say this to the owner, or I can't say this to my supervisor. We want to open, and I know that this sounds like redundant when we say we have an open door policy, but truly what we want to do is create this open communication. We want feedback. I know, Jennifer, you and I are always engaging with the owners. They receive feedback. How can I improve my coaching style with you? What can I do to better you as an owner? What can we do to help you become successful? Let's talk about team dynamics, and how can you get regular check-ins with your team and stuff. So I think if, as an owner, we want those check the pulse of our caregiver, check the pulse of our admin team. Like sometimes we have to have a come to Jesus conversation with ourselves. Like, as an owner, are we really actively listening to our team on how do we change to be a better home care agency out there? How can we change to make a difference in the lives of those that we're impacting every single day? And then something else that I think that goes in hand with this is recognition. Recognizing when a scheduler does an amazing job, when a recruiter has met the quota or beyond that. And, I love hearing stories of recruiters saying they built this great relationship and they see them go through training and now they're a caregiver out there and they stop in the office just to say hi. And that full circle retention aspect that's happening. But I think if we recognize caregivers out there, they're doing a hard work. They're doing it. It's not like rocket science, but they're taking care of another human being. They're showing compassion. They're showing love. And for us to recognize them and say, great job, well done, and maybe we recognize them as the employee of the month or a caregiver of the month, or recruiter of the month or scheduler of the month, whatever it may be. I think recognition is vital to really give praise and reinforce that we're all human. We're in a people serving people business. And I know, Jennifer, you love accolades. I love accolades. We thrive on that. And if we don't have that, there's not that support and we don't feel like we're part of that team or that family, eventually we're going to say, hey, we're going to look for somewhere else to go where I'm going to get recognized in that. And
that's right. Yeah, exactly.
The other thing is be transparent. I know a lot of owners, they have changes that happen and or maybe they're considering some change and they keep it really close to chest, and they don't disclose what's going on there or the different decisions that are coming. Some things as an owner, you got to make decisions, and sometimes you can't say it out there. But when it comes to your team, you want to be transparent. You want buy-in. I love it when I would sit down with my team and I say, "Hey, these are things that we're considering on implementing. I'd love to get you guys' feedback." And I think that is the best course of action to take. It doesn't matter what size your office. If it's just a husband and wife, or you're just by yourself and you got maybe a marketer, bring them in, get some buy-in, bring some caregivers in and get buy-in on some of the things and changes that you want to do. They will be very transparent with you. They'll say, "Hey, Shane, that's a great idea," or, "Shane, I don't know about that idea. Might have to go back to the drawing board and rethink this a little bit." But I think as owners and admin team or managers, I think we really need to listen intently to the things that are out there, and then those things that we're considering change, to get their buy-in on it and feedback on it. That's going to be really critical for fostering that collaborative culture out there.
Yeah, because then they start feeling part of the team. They feel they have an impact, that they have a voice. And that's sometimes better than anything for these people.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really helping them change their lives.
So let's talk about the white elephant in the room. And I know that a lot of people out there that are watching this are saying, "Oh, Shane, Jennifer, the biggest thing that people are looking for is their paycheck. They want the nickel and dime of that paycheck to represent what they're doing out there." Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the competitive compensation and benefits out there for people. Money is not everything. And I know that they got to meet their bills and they got to have money in their pocket, and that's a good thing to have. And I know that if we look at the number one thing of why caregivers leave a home care agency is because they didn't receive enough pay. So one of the things that I would like to talk about is, how do we add a little bit more competitive to the compensation, or maybe even a bonus or benefits out there? I know one of the things that we offered is what we call a premium pay. So you got caregivers that are, let's say you're paying them $15 an hour, and anyone who wanted to work more than 30 hours in a week, we pay them $1 more an hour. It was an incentive for them to work full time, 30 plus hours in a given week, maybe a couple weekends out of the month or a weekend out of the month, and they received more compensation for on the weekends. So it's an incentive for them to make more money, to feel more plugged in with the team. And that's just one aspect. Give me another benefit, Jennifer, that we would do.
Okay, so again, it goes back to clear expectations. So you could have an incentive plan for the next 3 years, and you share that with them. How exciting would that be? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, other than pay, you can give gift cards, you can give gifts. Ideally, it's still the pay that's going to help put food on their table and what they're going to really appreciate. But I love this because I was at a conference and they had a panel of caregivers, at the HCOA. And one thing that she said is, look, we're, my owner, because we had a caregiver panel, and it was very interesting because she basically said, look, I'm new at this game. I can't pay you what you're worth, but if you stay with me, I'm going to help you get there, and I'm going to keep you informed how we're doing so that I can pay you what you're worth. So it's that upfront, open door honesty, like absolute honesty. I want to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you. Give me time to build this business. Stay with me. Yeah. And so when it comes to that kind of relationship, if you build from the day you hire to those type of people and you keep them in the loop, that it was interesting because the caregiver said, yeah, I'll stay. Yeah, I'll stay because I know you have me on top of your mind. You're not just going to forget about me. Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. And, we work with a lot of technology. We probably could go into that. Technology does a lot of things. One, it keeps us in touch with the caregivers and changing conditions and us making changes to hours. They're going to get more hours, all that kind of stuff they're going to like. But it also gives us the ability to train them specialized training, like dementia training or Parkinson training. We have a whole 4 programs that we focus on, and those caregivers, it's almost like a bonus to be able to get to those certifications, because now you're more experienced to handle more care, higher needs, and long-term cases. And that's what they want. They want the full-time hours. So it's the full-time hours is the goal. How can I, as an owner, help them get there? And so that comes into structured scheduling, another way we can help our caregivers.
Yeah, that's good. I know one of the packages that we offered as benefits. After they've served, they had an average, I think it was like 120 hours a month. And they did that for 1 year. They got a benefits package. They can enroll in one of our insurance plans. And so a lot of them were very grateful for that. That was something that was an incentive that they maintained so many hours. One of them, the other thing is we can provide health and wellness benefit packages. And I know that there's some agencies out there within a place of home that we offer those. And because kind of a little teledoc, mental health, some things that we provide there. And so PTO, that's another thing. After a year, they were able to get some PTO. Little things like that go a long ways. Even with admin team, you can build bonus structures. You're hitting certain metrics, and you want the incentive to be out there. It's not always about the paycheck, but it's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. And you're hitting incentives as a team. You're going to get rewarded as a team. And so I think when you start looking at, how can I incentivize, maybe a scheduler to do, instead of just doing a couple thousand hours of scheduling, and we have to hire another scheduler, maybe we do more block scheduling and they're doing more 5,000 to 6,000 hours. And we're going to incentivize them. We're going to bonus them because they now have implemented something that is going to save them a little bit more expense costs and create a bigger dynamic within the office there. I think that is one of the biggest things that separates a lot of agencies. I used to have caregivers ask me, and I even admin team, do you offer any type of benefits? Do you have bonus structures? What separates you out there from everybody else that I can get a paycheck from? And so that's one of them. Let's talk about technology. You mentioned that, and that's something that I came from an agency that technology was starting to really blow up, and kind of let's talk a little bit. There's some smart tools out there for caregivers. Dive into that a little bit, Jeff.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we use WellSky, but they clock in and clock out on an app. Imagine that 10 years ago. It wasn't a thing. So that makes it easy. What that also does is it goes into our system and we have accountability on them, whether they got to the shift, whether they're late. Their pay is exactly based on their clock in, clock out. So that's really important to us. I love the changing condition because we have our own home health partners. If there's a changing condition, we would contact our home health partner and hopefully avoid a hospital visit because they can come and assess the situation. There's so much out there. Virtual visits is another thing that we're looking at in some states, just to be able to assess situations, whether someone needs to come to the home.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much in technology, right? It makes it,
But I will say this about technology, that if a agency or an owner doesn't get on with technology, because it's always advancing. The age of technology is here. We need to embrace it. We need to be a part of it. And as owners in our agency, we need to look at how do we use it that separates us from everybody else out there. How does it benefit our admin team? How does it benefit our caregivers? And so I know you mentioned a few of them, mobile scheduling and communication. and some of the tracking tools that we can use for progress of a caregiver.
Yeah.
And so all of this is good. It's good for what separates us out there from everybody else. And just those little things. Like I know one of, I don't want to get into the whole, I'll call it the Uberization of home care, but there is technology that's coming that caregivers will be on an app, and it'll be very similar to a DoorDash where you'll be able to clock, see what your schedule is and be able to get in there. And there's a lot of rewards that they'll be able to get the more that they, work with the clients out there. Even our admin teams be able to have things that are more documented and be able to track their KPIs and metrics internally, as well as what's going out there with the clients. I just think we need to use the technology that's there today. It's always changing. It's like a computer. You can buy it today, tomorrow. The computer is outdated. You got a new computer. Technology is always changing. I think it's very important for us as owners to stay abreast of those changes, because it's going to separate us and our team from the other competition out there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, enhance your ability to invest in technology, but to go back to our core values is we are care. And one thing our owners really do is have caregivers that are going over and above what the task is. And so if you start that from the beginning, like we are a team here that goes over and above. We're not just delivering service, we're delivering a solution. So when you go into technology and, you could do yoga on a chair from an app, and that could be one extra service level that you can offer clients that want to do that. We really get to know our clients personality wise. We try and give a perfect match. We're not just an Uber. We're really trying to find things, because think about it. You have a caregiver that's afraid of dogs. You put the caregiver in the home, the caregiver runs. Like, let's say it's a big dog. Now you don't have a caregiver. And another thing is, I mean, one of the most meaningful stories is when a family says that they're like family. Like, you can't just get that from an app. That is a build of relationships. And I think the more stories owners can share is just, it beats anything you can do on, in content like that. That actual impact that we can make is huge. And then the caregivers feel this is their calling. And if you talk to who are our caregivers, they're not the people that are just there to put a task and take a shower and all this. There's more to that, but they have to see what they can offer the family, because it's a solution. It's not just a task.
Yes. One of the things I was thinking about as you're saying that is some of the back office stuff that technology can definitely help us with. I know that the technology is there to do scheduling. You don't necessarily even use our people in a different task, more people-centered task, and have the technology to do all the scheduling. I still am old school about just having people serving people and people involved in calling up the client, talking about their schedules, getting the feedback there. There is going to be technology that can be used in a great way. I just don't see how the industry is going to flip completely and be ran by a robot or so techy that
can't do it.
Move the people out of it. But I want to talk about something that separates, and I know I did this in the other agency I was with, is developing strong community relations, getting involved in the community. So one of the things, we would have caregivers and staff. If there's a community event, so like Alzheimer Walk, we definitely were a part of that. We were really big in not only the sponsorship of that, but getting caregivers and team members out there doing the walk. Breast cancer awareness. We were very involved in that and bringing the awareness. Several of our team members either have family members or they themselves were going through breast cancer. But Habitat for Humanity, you get involved in building a home for someone out there that is in need. And so what we did is we looked beyond us and what the community had, what was the need in our community. that a place at home can make a mark in. And so I'd say we find something and we adopt it. We partner with them, and that becomes a partnership that you can do, and it builds community. It builds fosters not only us as a team. It's team building. You're out there, and let's say it's Habitat 2 Men, and you're helping build a home. You're painting. You're putting in floors, moving furniture in, and you're doing it as a team. And those are really good team dynamics that you're building there. You're partnering with those local organizations, but you're also we've done is we've invited families, families that come in, and our employees would call their family members in, and we have a big get together, and doing things together, not just as our own a place of home community, but as family. And you mentioned that a couple of times where we're more like family, but we're coming together. Maybe a scheduler brings their spouse in, and to be a part of meeting the team of they spend 8 hours with. They're on call, and this is my second family, so to speak, out there, day family that they're with. And so I think that's important.
Absolutely. Community is so important, and you nailed it. It's the local. So what's important to your community from a marketing standpoint is so important. So if the breast cancer awareness is the top thing that the community drives to every May, then that's what you need to hook yourself onto. But maybe it's on food insecurity. But when you cater it to what's important in your community, that's local SEO.
Yeah.
And it goes back to your website.
Yeah, that's really good. I remember there was an event I went to, and we did a big team building event where we built this as a boat on wheels, and we had races against other people out there, and it was just fun. It was to raise money for an awareness out there, and I think it's for Lou Gehrig's disease, and so we had a team captain, and we built this big boat, and that we could all. I think there's like 3 people to a boat. And it was on wheels, and you go down this hill, and so you're wearing helmets, you're dressed really funny, and it was just fun. It was the whole community came out, people that were raising funds and awareness of Lou Gehrig's disease, and just having that engagement. It's the other thing of letting your guard down, becoming transparent, bonding with your other team members out there in the community, cheering you on with your funny looking boat going down. The bottom line is you're building relationships, building community ties there, and the community comes together. And then it's not just about, hey, I'm a place at home, and how can I do business with you? I'm a part of this community, and they're a part of this community. How do we work together? How do we communicate in that community there?
Yeah. So one thing I want to add is that, it's always about the community, because they're either coming from a hospital, SNF, skilled nursing for people that don't know what that is, or rehab, and then they're going back into the community. Well, that's going back into home. So we're all connected. And if we can be more in touch in the community, that's going to bring more referral business and more leads and more business. Yep. Absolutely.
I want to circle back to something, and I want to add a little bit of a carry it on to it, is create an inclusive, respectful environment. We talk about culture, and I think within culture, we have to have an environment of respect for one another. And, our care model, compassionate, accountable, respectful, ethical. And I believe that a lot of our owners, I don't know of any owner that doesn't have the care model, live it and breathe it within their. I love what Dustin and Jerry put together here with that, with the care. But if we become really inclusive by creating this respectful environment, we train our staff in it. A lot of our owners are in different environments, lots of cultural diversity. We want to train our staff in cultural diversity, not just respect internally, it's respect out there in the community. It's respect to our clients, respect to our caregiver. I love the diversity that we have at a place at home. A lot of our owners come from different walks of life, ethnic groups, and the diversity that we have there. I think it's very important that we lead by example. We teach our teams that, we teach our caregivers that. The community sees that. That's what separates us out there. And, I think that, throughout the United States, different pockets of different cultural ethnic groups that are growing. We want to embrace that, and we want to be a community for all people and work with them as we serve the community and those seniors in that community. What's your thoughts on that, Jennifer?
Absolutely. And we know that there is issues that come up, and it's really important that we protect the caregivers. And you set that expectation at the beginning, that we are here for you. It is, if situations come up, I want you to feel comfortable enough to come to me, because we have to look, caregivers are the backbone of our business. If we don't take care of our caregivers, there is no business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are a diverse group, and we should be respected at all times, and vice versa. Like you said, go into the home, be prepared on some of the cultural differences, go into the home and respect the differences, the cooking, the smells. I mean, we know that not everybody has moved into this diverse situation where it's acceptable and embraced, but we still have to be respectful.
Yeah. Let's talk about the E of our care model. Let's emphasize ethical standards. I think a lot of, you look out in our community today and you see all the competitions out there. And as a client, and we're looking out there and we're trying to figure out, what agency to go with, or even maybe I'm a prospective employee, and I'm looking to join an agency. One of the things I would definitely be looking for is ethical standards. What separates us ethically from everybody else out there, Jennifer?
Oh boy. Well, we do live our core values of ethical. We're very careful when we set our policies and procedures. Our owners are strong, and they stay to them, right?
I put you on the spot there, and I don't mean to. But, let's put it this way: integrity and professionalism. And I believe all of our owners are, without doubt, with high integrity. I know our development team does a great job of bringing in really amazing owners. But I think one of the things that you and I would agree on, and I think everybody else I would agree out there, is that we have the integrity and the professionalism from an owner throughout their team is vital, and it's there. You go in an office,
top down.
Yep, top down, and sometimes we're vulnerable to populations. Maintaining that high ethical standard is critical. It's like pivotal to the difference maker of a make or break it in an agency. But to what you said, we have to set clear guidelines and ensure our caregivers and our staff members are committed to the professionalism, to confidentiality, and making ethical decisions that impact our business. We're in an industry that is serving other people, people serving people, and we have to do that with the utmost ethical and the utmost professionalism in the industry out there. I know a topic you want to talk about. Let's talk about work-life balance.
Oh boy. No owner is going to say that. However, this is what technology helps with. Automation, streamlining, all that kind of stuff can help. It is a hard thing, home life balance in any career, in any job. But what caregivers really need, so they don't have a mental breakdown, is that work-life balance. And if we can respect that and help with that, and be, really understand our caregivers' needs, our staff's needs to have a personal life, I think that goes a long way. Because, you think about, some of them will go overtime and work till they're absolutely exhausted. And it's up to us as owners to not let burnout happen. And then at the same time to offer resources to handle it. And if that means, and I mean down the road when you scale and you can have a social worker on staff, or therapists that they can reach out to, free counseling, a support group. These are things we can do for our teams to make sure that they have more of that work-life flow. I don't like balance.
Yeah. There's, and I like that word flow. We're in such this a culture and a community sometimes that it's just so fast paced. And it seems like, our work days, we're just, we work, and we're just, we're grinding it. As owners and really as team members, you made allusion to this, that we have to identify those that are almost at burnout. We should never work our team members to the point of burnout. It's important for them to get rest, take some personal time. Maybe we invest in them. I remember hearing of the owner one time, caregivers, staff members were working really hard, and he treated them to a spa day, and took them and they had some pampering and, a massage, and they got their nails done and everything like that. And he just invested. He took time. Him and his wife, they went and they worked really hard behind the scenes, and they went to the spa. And so they, that says a lot about culture. It says a lot about that owner promoting a work-life flow, a balance, and recognizing them. They're acknowledging their hard work that they're doing. They're also recognizing they need to take a time out. They need to refresh, hit the reset button. It's really good. I know you were just in New York recently, and you took a little bit of a break and enjoyed New Year's Eve with you and your husband. And so those are things that are needed. And we need to recognize that as a community, as owners, and as a franchise network, that we really have to validate and recognize those caregivers that are really, maybe they're say yes to everything. It's okay to say no, and acknowledge that, okay, they need time out here. And then we're providing that supportive leadership to them. It's about empathy, showing empathy towards them. It's so easy for us to call up and say, tell a caregiver, hey, we got a schedule, I need you to go and fulfill that schedule. It's more important for us to lead with empathy with our team, both internally and with our caregivers, make them feel appreciated, and helps reduce that turnover.
And ask them how they're doing.
Exactly. Simple engagement, simple questions like, how are you doing? Like, how's your kids? Like, I remember hearing a recruiter, she wrote down on a calendar everybody's birthdays. This was my first year in Savannah. This scheduler, she had all the caregivers' photos up there on the wall, and she knew everybody's kids, their birthdays, everything. And I remember listening to her. She'd pick up the phone and she'd call up and she was like, hey, how's little Johnny doing today? Hey, would you tell him happy birthday from me? And tell him there's a card in the mail coming his way. Little things like that just went so far. And I was blown away by that. And that promoted such a balance. It promoted that that person cared about a family member that didn't even work for them. And I just thought, wow, this is so, I love being a part of that, where people care about other people and they're willing to pour into that. But I want to bring up a topic here, and we're kind of going to be wrapping up here soon, but a holistic approach to care. And I think the mind, body, soul focus.
Spirit,
it goes beyond the basic care. We think of the emotional, social, psychological well-being of both our clients, our caregivers, but we need to provide resources and activities that encourage, mental stimulation.
Absolutely. Exercise.
Yeah, exercise, emotional health, social interaction with other clients, other people. I used to, during the summer, I was, tell my team, hey, we're going to go out. We're going to work remote. Today, we're going to work from a park. We're going to get outside, get our vitamin D, but we're going to interact with other people that are out there instead of being in four walls of a regular office. But as we encourage our caregivers to take our clients outside, engage with other people out there. Twice a year, we'd get all of our caregivers together, and in disguise, it was a learning opportunity for them to get their CU credits. But to bring 100 and some odd employees together from our office, and they'd bond and they would learn from one another, and they just it was like a reunion of everybody getting together, and but promotes that that health, the mind, body, and soul of that individual, and it's needed. It promotes the well-being of your staff. It brings balance to your team, and it also shows that you care. I really don't care how much someone knows. I don't need a know-it-all coming into the business and saying, "Hey, I know how to run this entire business. I know how to do this." My parents used to teach this a lot to me. Show them how much you care. Show them how much you love them. There's a great owner of another agency up in Wisconsin, and I will love it if he hears this, because I'm going to boast on him a little bit. But he uses the verb love, and he had it in his office. Caregivers that would come in there for training would have all the verbs would be on the wall that was all about love, and the culture that he cultivated there was all around loving one another, serving one another, and creating that culture and the diversity. And within that gentleman, he became one of the largest owners with that agency, especially in the state of Wisconsin, and crushed it across the United States. And so my whole thing I want to encourage people out there is that we have this holistic approach of how we bond with our community, with our internal staff, with our caregivers. Little things like we talked about today are going to set us aside from other agencies out there.
Yeah, and celebrating the wins is a really important thing to do with your team, because you're building a team, and you don't want to just take the credit as an owner. You want to give it to your team. It means so much, right? And then when you think of retention, that's what people stay for, when they're really, recognized and given like that accolades and all those kind of things. That's what means, people will remember. We know this thing, like people remember how you made them feel.
Yeah. So, and I know you've have some other thoughts you can add to this, but I think the big thing, because I think from the outside in, if I'm looking to join a place at home, and I'm weighing all the options out there, maybe I can make more at this other agency, or maybe there's more development here or something. What I really want to encourage our owners within our network, really develop your teams, pour into them. You want to create a culture for them to grow in. I talked to an owner today up in Pennsylvania. She has a staff member up there that she's promoting, and I love the culture that she's created in there, and the growth opportunities within that. I think you do that, people are going to buy into what your vision, what your mission is, your core values. So important to buy into the core values. I would not work for anybody if I did not believe in the core values of what they have. That's what's going to separate. Compensation, we all like to receive that paycheck. We want to pay our bills. It's beyond the compensation. What can we as owners do to provide a little bonus structure? Maybe we provide some benefits to the package there, and that may separate us out there from everybody else out. That well-being balance of the flow, work-life flow. We all have family. Life happens. I think as owners, we cannot be callous to things that are going on in someone else's world, and we need to be all ears and listen to them, get to know them. They're not just a number, and they're not just another employee. They're family, and that really is really is there. And but I wrote down something here. Let me share this. To truly set yourself apart in this ever-evolving home care industry that we're in, it's important for us to create an environment that attracts and retains the top-tier talent while delivering exceptional care to our clients. We got to do something that separates us out there. And I think just the little things out there is going to be separating. It's more than just focusing on the caregiver or a staff member's well-being, but it's personalizing it. It's like to us, to me as an owner, as a manager, it's personal to me. I want to make that personal to my staff, to my caregivers, to my clients out there. We're changing the face of aging through our team by the development that we do, the one-on-one personal relationships we build, the culture, the diversity, the ethical standards that we set, all those little things that we create those dynamics that separate us from everybody out there to be the provider of choice.
That's the goal.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Jennifer, and I think our time is coming to an end. And but I want to encourage everybody else out there, if you haven't tuned in, or if this is your first time tuning in, every Thursday, 3:30 Eastern time, you can dive in. We'll have Dustin, our CEO, will be on. Right now, he's out in the beautiful Colorado mountains skiing, and I hope he's enjoying himself with his friends. And doing some bonding. He deserves some time off. And but I just want to thank you for your time today and joining us on our Coach's Corner. Have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Okay. Bye.